Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. This is part two about my experiences growing up in the San Jose area where I lived almost my entire life, right? I briefly went to boarding school in Southern California, so almost 42 years. No, actually around 40 years, around 40 years um, of living in the San Jose area, okay, is what I'm speaking on. Okay, so don't get me wrong, again, there's a lot of lovely people here. My Italian neighbors were very nice people. A lot of friendly Asian people, as Asian people are known to be friendly. A lot of a lot of Hispanic people. Some of my friends were various races. I mean, um, there's that, right? But speaking of that, a lot of my friends were black people. Even though black people are 2% of San Jose or so, if that. It's hard to imagine that 1 in 50 people here are black, but a lot of them were black, and a lot of them were thugs. Okay, and that's kind of what happens when society kind of pushes you away, and they don't offer you anything more appealing than hanging out with thugs, and you're a black person in California, in a major city, and in the area of a major city, because at some points living in Morgan Hill, what have you. That's what ends up happening. And that's rather unfortunate, okay, because I'm a man of virtue and honor, and I don't think it's right that society turns people into criminals, into Satanists, into Luciferians. You know, in many ways, San Jose is you feel very safe in most of San Jose historically. In recent years, it's changed a bit. Um, I mean, it's not like the Deep South, okay, but it's that scientific racism. It's those barriers that ruin everything, right? For example, I'm part white. My mother's white. Why did I have so many black dates and had to settle? And people decided to reject me. A lot of times I didn't think they were attractive. I wasn't into them, and I was like, hey, I want to date somebody, and so on and so forth. And that's very, very sad. Okay, and didn't have that many white dates, and I'm half white, and it's only 2% black, and it's 30% white. If everyone is not racist, then I should have, was it 15 times more white dates than black dates? If anything, it was like the other way around, so to speak, right? Why is that? Okay. Now, where your heart is, right? They say love is the answer. Love conquers all, right? Where your heart is, right? They say follow your heart. Where your heart is a key part of who you are. So you can't say, for example, the Klan say they can't say that they're not racist. They just, hang black people and harass them and do psychological operations on them. They can't say that and be honest. And neither can you say that you're not racist if you don't have it in your heart to date a righteous and handsome mulatto person. I mean, that is crazy. Never in my life would I let a race get in the way of me dating somebody. I would never say, well, I only date this race or that race. That is fucking retarded. You know what I mean? That's not love. Love doesn't give a damn about race. And that includes, financial advancement and so on. So when we look at this social, political, and economic oppression of people of color, of certain white people, of people who aren't from the privileged networks that dominate society, okay, and obviously token minorities helping them out, it is sad. It's not love. That's not how you build a society on love, and that's ruined everything. And I know a lot of you don't want to hear this. It's not aimed at one group or another or just people in San Jose. And tell people of the races you don't like, if you want to, this message. But no one should be reproducing. This is an evil world. I tell you this as the top martial artist ever possible. I tell you this as the son of 2 doctors, one a brain surgeon. I tell you this as someone who did Algebra 2 as a young kid in kindergarten, pre-kindergarten. I did the math, so to speak. This is an evil, evil, selfish, and petty world that persecutes the most righteous people that ever lived. Like it says in Isaiah 57, the righteous are taken away to be spared from evil. The children of the sorceress and the prostitute were outside the gates in Revelation are the ones who remain. Survivor is a play on words for serve, I, veer. Veer. Veer to what? Veer toward being more and more evil and more under the technological control of evil. The technologies of social control are getting more and more extreme. And I know some of the younger people, you don't understand because say if you're 20 or 18, you weren't there to see it when the world was more normal. You weren't there. The world went from being racist as hell to being a bit more normal for a time in the 80s and 90s. And now it's reverted to racist, but it's more scientific racist. The rules, the social rules that you have today, we didn't have when in the 90s when I was a teenager. These are oppressors that have taken over, who are worse in many ways than the last generation of oppressors. The changing of the guard, as they say, has brought in villains, people who see themselves as the Riddler and the Joker. Okay? And I see people, emulating and following their path and sticking your tongues out. You don't know what it means. That sticking the tongue out has implications on rape and has implications on Satanism. Look at the Satanist sticking out his tongue. Look at rapists harassing their victims. Frats, different groups of people. They rape their victim and sensitize them to certain behaviors, and they would reference the rape in certain ways, and sticking out the tongue is one of them. It also has disgusting implications on disgusting sexual acts, and let you figure that out on your own. So growing up in San Jose and Morgan Hill, went to Live Oak, went to Cornerstone Christian School in Gilroy. I've seen different places. I went to a school in Southern California, boarding school. Went to reform school because as a result, society rejected me to such an extreme. My parents didn't just send me to boarding school at 13, 14 years old. They sent me to reform school at 16. Then I got kicked out of that reform school and sent to a behavior modification program in Idaho. And at that reform school, we were in the same area as the highest concentration of skinheads, right, in Southern California, in America at the time at least, which was Orange County. And then when I went to the behavior modification program, and these guys are very much hooked in with the elite, right, the psychological, with mental health, you name it, right, governing class, social controllers, you name it. In Idaho, there was Lake Hayden Lake, where it was the largest skinhead compound in America. And 100 people or so. At some point, I think they killed a Jewish reporter or something. 5 of them were charged with that. And they were having a demonstration, after I was on my way out there. And I can tell you from studying mental health, I can tell you with certainty, looking at the different ways they condition teenagers, Christian school, reform school, boarding school, adult school, behavior modification, wilderness program, studying mental health. Them trying to, I'm a brain surgeon's son who women should be, tall, dark, and handsome, basketball star, martial arts star. Okay, by the time when I was really younger, I was kind of ugly, but when I was like 16 or so, a lot of females conceded that I was attractive. But the social barriers, the way people think, prevented me as a brain surgeon and humanitarian son who was good enough, loving enough to marry a white woman, okay? He met in Detroit in a very racist time in American history where they're having riots. Race riots, okay, overcoming in so many ways. They couldn't see greatness in me. They couldn't see the top martial arts ever possible in me because of all that scientific racism, all that psychological control, all that calculated and underhanded and diabolical modes of thinking, all those modes of thinking, all that oppression, all that diabolical, devious, and disgusting oppression. They raise their daughters to reject me. And we're talking about a lot of people are nice. Some people come close to getting it, but they don't get it. Because these are scientists, these are PhDs, these are the who's who of their field coming together with the CIA, coming together with the State Department, coming together with the various local and state and federal agencies and groups and corporations, marketing people certain lifestyles. You're more controlled than you think that you are. I promise you that.